Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. I'm Chris Witts and today we're back on the Gloucester Sharpness Canal. We're on the stretch from the entrance to the new docks at Sharpness up to the Purton bridges, and now I'm stood at the pillars of the old Severn railway bridge, which was knocked down on the 25th of October 1960. And more about that in my film. So without further ado, sit back and enjoy. We mentioned in the previous film that ships were becoming too large to travel to Gloucester along the Gloucester Sharpness Canal. Thus in 1869 a survey was undertaken to establish where a new dock could be built. A decision was made to construct the new entrance at Holy Hazel Pill, with a tidal basin and sea lock. Within the plans was provision for a graving dock. Completing the plan was a large dock basin with an entrance cut into the Gloucester Sharpness Canal, allowing smaller vessels to continue to trade to Gloucester. An army of navvies dug out the dock basin over a period of 3 years from 1871. Finally, on the 25th of November 1874, the dock was opened, with the 600-ton Italian bark Tree for Trelly arriving off the piers laden with grain. As we pass through the low-level and high-level bridges into the canal, we see ahead of us the remaining pillar of the long-gone Severn Railway Bridge. On the 25th of October 1960, two tanker barges, on the night tide in thick fog, collided with the bridge, resulting in the loss of 5 crewmen and a large explosion with the river ablaze, and 2 spans of the bridge dropping onto the tankers. I was 16 at the time and out on the river that night as deckhand on the Wisedale H. I will say no more about this disaster, as I will shortly be making a new film about this sad tale. Continuing along the canal, we can see that it is considerably higher than the River Severn, which runs parallel along this stretch of waterway. It was feared that erosion of the canal bank from the Severn would occur if nothing was done. Thus, in 1909, the first barges were dumped on the bank to prevent erosion. Dumping of redundant barges continued until the 1970s, and today this ship graveyard is known as the Purton Hulks. Both Gloucester and Sharpness docks suffered from a build-up of silt. Until the year 2000, this silt was removed using a bucket dredger, with the mud taken away in hopper barges. The dredged mud in the hopper barges was discharged at Purton, only a short way up the canal from the Purton Hulks, tied alongside a floating pumping station. Each barge would have the mud pumped out and discharged back into the Severn. I don't know if you can hear it, but the tide is coming in with some force. When I first got here, it was no sign of the tide or sand. Tempting to walk out there, just imagine, and getting caught in that. I'll see if I can get closer to it. Well, that's as close as I can get with a telephoto, but you may be able to pick up the rippling tide coming in. It's I pan round to the left, I see the wrecks, the tanker wrecks are almost covered in that short time. We're talking 10 minutes, they're almost covered. So that just shows what power this tide has. And if you're out there, I reckon that's the end of you. As we walk along this section of the canal from the Purton bridges, going down towards Sharpness, we see in the distance some lovely looking cottages. So as we get closer, we're trying and find out what all that is about. We finish this film as the canal leaves Purton and passes alongside Bristol Waterworks. This was constructed between 1971 and 1974 and takes water from the canal. We will see later at Gloucester where this water is replenished from the Severn and pumped into the dock basin. Well, you come to the end of this part of the film on this section of the canal at Purton. We're finishing on a rather dismal day, but at least there's no wind. It's quite still, and so I look forward to seeing you for the next section of the film. So until then, goodbye. Thank you for watching my film. If you liked it, why not subscribe to my channel and hit the like button. Meanwhile, I look forward to meeting you all again next week with a new film for you to enjoy. Bye!